So the next item that we have in here is really practical. In this part actually is convert linked CAD formats. It is inactivated by default. It means that, for example, if you go into insert, for example, and you look link CAD and you work by link CAD and you import, for example, any kind of format, DXF, SAT, SketchUp, CL, everything, every other formats that you're, for example, using. Do you really want it to be exported next to that file, for example? As an example, let me just enter one of these views. For example, level. In this level, link CAD will be selected, and let's import this AutoCAD file. Let's just set on manual origin, for example, or for example, auto share, for example. And the unit is by meter. Let's open it. And as you can see, this file will be imported. After importing, we'll go on 3D. Of course, it is not shown in here. Let's open the visibility window and let's go into import. Let's activate this item if it is, of course, inactivated. So the AutoCAD file is in here. So let's actually import the SketchUp in here. Let's go on top view link and let's go back. Let's go into SketchUp. I've just set some towers in here. Let me just set it on SketchUp. And the first tower will be selected, and let's just set it on manual origin. We want to set it, of course, where we want to just place it in here. Let's set the tower in here. Again, let's click link second tower, manual, of course, and let's set it in here. Let me click on it. Let's rotate it, and let's delete copy. And for example, let's rotate in here. As you can see, it is like this. So scale, for example, half. Let's just make it smaller, and this one also like that. Half, and okay. So we have a kind of AutoCAD file and 2 towers in here that we imported them from SketchUp. Maybe you use Rhino and other softwares, and you can import them, for example, in here. So the point that we have in here actually is if I type NW, and for example, I will go to this part, and we have convert link CAD formats if it is inactivated. And let's export it right now. And we'll wait that exporting processing is done in here. And then we'll just click on refresh. And as you can see, those files haven't got included in here. So if I, for example, I will activate this item, convert link CAD formats. And then, for example, I will save it and export again. We'll wait for exporting processing in here. Usually activating or inactivating will affect on the time of the exporting, because when we have it, we have, for example, more elements. So let's click on refresh, and as you can see, these files have got imported in here. And we can use the link files. So we'll go on selection tree. If you pay attention in this window, these files are in group of actually this file that they have got added. For example, if I click on it, as you can see in this part, it is got added. Or for example, the next one like this, or for example, even the AutoCAD file import, for example, it's got added. So let's return again, for example, in Revit. And for example, the next item that we have here is convert linked files. Let's, for example, inactivate this one. Convert linked files actually will affect on Revit files. It means that, let's click on OK. Let's save it. And for example, the AutoCAD files that we linked, let's just relinquish them. For example, it denies them. Let's just click. Let's go on insert and click on linked Revit. And let's go into Revit, RVT, HVAC, and again, plumbing. And for example, the files, every file that we have, for example, architectural or other files, maybe you want to link them. You have to pay attention that, for example, when you're just linking detailable, it is, for example, just on file. Detailable should be on file, because if it's on chord, maybe many elements will be just linear, and it must be just on file. So right now, if I type NW in here, And for example, this file is inactivated. I mean, I told you that, for example, they are just on Revit, I believe, we mean. So let's export them. None of these, for example, files like HVAC and plumbing will be included. Just the host file, or for example, structure, will be exported in here. So let's refresh it. And as you can see, there is no effect on them. But for example, if we want to export the linked file of the Revits in here, we have to just activate this file in here. And in addition to the structural file, we have the linked files that they include, or such as HVAC and plumbing. In this project, for example, we'll link them. They will just be exported. So let me just tell you a point in here in the real projects, or for example, the projects that we're going to work with BIM in here. Generally, actually, we won't link the, for example, or export, for example, the linked files with the host files. We prefer that separately we want to export the linked files, and for example, we want to append them on Navisworks or add them, that we can have a better management on them. Right now, that for example, that I'm exporting them as a kind of one file, they will be just in one group, and a little, of course, about the management. It will be hard, and you will face problems. So you better actually export the files separately, that you can manage them really better, especially and specifically that you're going to work on switchback, or for example reporting and such, these kinds of examples. Let me just click on refreshing here, and as you can see, two linked files, of course, have got added. And if you go on selection tree window, you will see that, for example, these files are in group of these files, for example, HVAC and plumbing. And of course, they are not the kind of separated file in here, and they are just in group of the structural file in here. Of course, about the management, it's a little hard. You might find some problems. So by need of the project, you can just activate or inactivate this one. We don't mean that, for example, we want to inactivate and we want to link all of the all of the files separately. Maybe sometimes, for example, on the structural files, some people are working, or some teams are working, and they're producing one structural file. And you might, for example, in these situations, because all of them are structural team, we want to activate, or for example, for interior designing, for architectural one, or for example, viewing or other things, for example, simultaneously they are working on a project and we can activate it. But if they are work at different disciplines, for example, are working on that, for example, structural, mechanical, or other things, we better that we inactivated that, for example, we won't find some problems. So let's click on OK, save, and exporting, and again refresh.